This is the introduction to adding and subtracting decimals. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the basics and move through. If you know how to add and subtract right now, you already know how to add and subtract decimals. Okay, there's just a couple of things that we need to do in order to be successful with these. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, and you do this with whole numbers pretty naturally, so don't let this throw you off once you see a decimal. So if we have 3 24/100ths plus 4 7/10, and we're going to add those together. We usually don't add left to right, we add up and down. So when we do that, I need to make sure the place values are lined up. So this 4 is in the ones place, so it should be lined up with the ones. The decimal point should be lined up. That 7's in the tens place. Okay? Now I can add it. I can put a 0 here if I would like to give everything balance. Okay? Notice by putting at 0, didn't change the value of anything. Did anything shift place values? No. So nothing, the values of those place values did not change. So now I can add them up. So that's 4. 2 and 7 is 9. Decimal point, put in the same spot. So 7 94/100ths. Okay? The same thing applies with subtraction. So we look at example 2, 6 3/10 minus 4 7/10. Okay? So I write the first number, 6 3/10. I'm going to subtract 4 7/10, well that 4 is in the ones place, so I make sure it's in the ones. Decimal points are lined up. The 7. Okay, if I have 3/10, can I give you 7/10? Or remember, tenths are dimes. If I have 3 dimes, can I give you 7 dimes? No. So I can borrow, so that becomes a 5. This will become a 13. 13 minus 7 is 6. Put the decimal point, 1. 1 6/10. So at this point, you want to pause the video and do 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you have any questions on this, see me during a Titan time and I'll help you out. Okay, once you're finished, you're going to move on to examples 3 and 4. So let's take a look at those. And with examples 3 and 4, we're going to be focusing on subtraction. Okay? If you get these next 2 pages, you will be set. Okay? So first thing is we're going to line them up. So 12. Okay, that 8 is in the ones place, so I put it in the ones place with the 2 decimal point. That 8 is in the tens place, the 4 is in the hundreds place. Okay? This is the key, especially with subtracting. Okay? A lot of you will just put a 4 down. But that, you can't do that. There's nothing here. Okay? Nothing minus 4. No pennies minus 4 pennies. Okay? If I have no pennies, I can't give you 4 pennies. Okay? Remember the hundredths place represents pennies? Okay, so what do I need to do? I need to put a placeholder 0 in there. Okay? Shows there's nothing there without changing the value of the number. Okay? Now I'd have to regroup, so this would become a 0, this would become a 10, 10 minus 4 is 6, 0 minus 8, well I have to borrow, this would become a 1, that would become a 10, 10 minus 8 is 2, decimal point, to borrow again, this would become 11, 11 minus 8 is 3, okay? I had to brush up on some of your regrouping, we've been doing some of it with the division, okay? But that placeholder 0 is very important. You have to be on the lookout, especially with subtraction. So let's move on to the next one. Example number 4. So it's 15 3/10 minus 12 85/100ths. Line them up. So that 1's in the tens place, needs to go in that 2 is in the ones. You're lined up. Use the grid paper to help you keep everything lined up. The 8 is in the tenths and the 5 is in the hundredths. Okay? Oh, then I notice, oh, there's nothing there, so I can put the placeholder 0. 0 minus 5, well, I have to regroup. This becomes a 2, this becomes a 10. You know, once you get it set up, it's the 3rd, 4th grade subtraction that you've been doing for a couple years now. So that's 5. 2 minus 8, well, I can't do that. This becomes a 4. This becomes a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. Put my decimal point. 4 minus 2 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0, so I can put the 0 there, or I can leave it. Because notice, it doesn't shift any place values. Okay? So try 5, 6, 7, and 8. See if you understand what we're talking about in this section. Once you're done, you can move to the last section of the video. Okay? So, we can go to examples 5 and 6. Okay? Dealing with subtraction again. And this is going to be applied to addition as well. So now I have 20 minus, well, that 1 is in the tens, 4 is in the ones, decimal point 5. Okay? Now you have to think about what we talked about with decimal place value way back at the beginning of the year. Okay? How can I get a decimal here without changing the value of 20? Well, remember we had the discussion about, you know, the decimal point is always to the right of the ones place. It's always there even if we don't write it. Okay? And then what can I do? Well, if I add 0 and a 0, okay, or I just need to add 1 0, right? If I add that 0, that's still the number 20, right? 0.0 does not change that. Okay? So that's what we have to do on some of these. We have to turn the whole number, we have to show its decimal. And then, once we have it set up, it's the same subtraction process. Well, to go the whole way over here to borrow, so this would become a 1, this would become a 10. And now for this to become a 10, this would have to become a 9. Okay? Hopefully you have some little tricks there to remember that. So that's 5, put my decimal, 9 minus 4 is 5. So 5 and 5 tenths. Okay? And then next one, same thing. Example number 6. 30 minus 16, 74 hundredths. So it would be 30 minus, the 1 is in the tens, the 6, 7 and the 4. You should notice here, well, I need to get 0. If I just add zeros, that changes the value, right? That changed that number from 30 to 3,000. Decimal point, just changed it back to 30. Okay? Now I have to go the whole way over. That becomes a 2. This will become a 10. This will become a 10. This has to become a 9. For this to become a 10, this would have to become a 9. Then I just do the subtraction. 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 7 is 2. 9 minus 3 is 6. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay? You might have to brush up on some of your subtracting skills. Okay? Subtraction is something that should be mastered perfectly by the time you get into 5th grade. So if you're not sure about this regrouping, you need to see somebody. Because I'm not focusing on the regrouping. I'm focusing on what we need to do to be able to do these. Okay? Again, you have until February 5th to do these. If you have any questions, make sure you come see me.